I'm going to try and keep this video very quick and concise because we do have a lot of good and bad things to go over that kind of need explaining. Instead of, just looking at Reddit, the dev posts and going, here's the update, bye. I wanted to actually get into game and test some of the things and really show you, with the new loot patch that's been added in literally right now, how good it is and sort of give my opinions along the way. My name is Ryan Central. For more Anthem content, then you can subscribe. Most of you know that already. But we're going to go over the new patch, the new hotfix that's just gone out, some pretty concerning news, new armor sets of course, and then kind of wrap it up with what I think of everything. But we need to go over everything first before then. The update, it comes from the devs saying hi, there's a server-side update, so it's not an actual patch, it's just a hotfix. We made some notable changes to the loot drop rate in specific scenarios and will take effect immediately. These are, Masterwork and Legendary drop rates have been increased for Grandmaster 2 and Grandmaster 3. And also, Masterwork and Legendary drop rates have been increased for harder enemies at all difficulty types. This includes Legendary Titans, Epic Titans, Legendary Furies, Legendary Acid Ursics, and Legendary Luminary Elder. An Acid Ursix, is that a thing? In any case, that's what the actual patch notes had to say, both on Reddit and on the EA website. But to give us a little bit more insight, Chad Robertson, who is the head of live service, posted a couple of tweets. We've been listening to your feedback and analysing in-game telemetry. We have boosted drop rates in the game for GM2 and GM3 difficulties, as well as select enemies in the game. As mentioned previously, this is the first of a series of updates we're making to loot and endgame progression. You can expect more updates in our next patch. This change is live in the game now, so jump in and enjoy. We look forward to hearing your thoughts, so on and so forth. As I said, instead of just going, well, that's what they said, go into game and try it out for yourself, I did all 3 of my legendary contracts. I wanted to post my findings. The gameplay in the background is of course those missions. I did want to say as a PSA, for the love of God, if you're not geared enough to go into GM2, then please don't go in. We had a pretty messy time just constantly trying to res somebody because they kept getting downed. It was actually me. It wasn't, but it's never fun to be carrying somebody in your group. So just be in the best gear and have the right build for it. It's not a cakewalk, remember. But I did 3 of my legendary contracts, and I actually got 2 legendaries out of the 3 contracts that I did. Here's some gameplay of me being downed. I said about being carried, but I was down here trying to get this legendary that has just dropped in front of me, teasing me, and then I respawned as somebody was trying to res me. It was very frustrating, but I picked it up in the end. I got 2 legendaries from the 3 contracts, and also 7 masterworks. 3 of course were guaranteed from doing contracts. The Masterworks themselves, off the top of my head, I have a couple of upgrades that are pretty cool, which I'm showing you on screen, but I did get a couple of trash ones, which I guess is there to answer it. This will of course be different for other people. I did do Strongholds because I wanted to do a very quick contract, just to get it over and done with, to be honest, and they're quite similar in length. In comparison to a normal GM1 contract that I usually do, on average, I would get maybe, obviously, the 1 guaranteed masterwork for doing the contract, which of course you get, and then maybe 1 every other legendary contract. So I'd get like 4 or 5 in total, instead of the 7 masterworks and the 2 legendaries that I got here. So of course it's a big increase, no doubt it increases more on GM3. To be clear about a couple of things, these changes will affect everything that you do in GM2 and GM3, so you could just farm free play if you want. That's probably the best thing to do right now if you're not comfortable with doing Strongholds. But the main thing that came out of this as well that we don't have information on is how much the drop rate is increased by. It would be nice to have numbers on this case. AJ, the community manager, says that he doesn't have the exact percentages to share, but they are pretty significant, yes. Please play and let us know what you see, but also realise experiences are going to vary person to person. I went over my results at least. It will of course be different to yours, but these amount of drops might be a lot for some people. For others it might just not be enough. I'll give my opinions on the state of loot as I said towards the end of this video, but that's just the results that I had. Take it how you will. Another thing to highlight with what AJ said is we aren't ready to give specifics on future stuff, but the team is working hard over the more incremental changes, because this on its own is good, but it's not enough to really turn the game around at this point. It's nice to see that this was hotfixed and ready for the weekend, but yeah, loot still has to go a long way in my opinion, especially with some of the news that we're going to go over in a second. But first I thought I'd highlight the new armor sets that are on the store. It's a glorious occasion. It's the Ranger and the Storm set of these Scar looking ones. Some new armor sets, brand new to the store that we haven't seen yet. It's like a Christmas miracle. The Ranger one's called Jigsaw, the Storm one is called Salvager. I bought the Ranger one so you can have a look on screen if you want, but if you're waiting for the Interceptor or the Colossus, need not fear because these skins were actually data mined. I didn't cover it last week because, I don't know, I just didn't feel like it, I suppose. Here's the Interceptor one on screen now, and the Colossus one also looks good. If you don't like the colour scheme, then remember that you can change it, but I do quite like these skins. I've seen some people calling them ugly. I like the scar theme, but to be honest, I will like any new skin that's put in front of me. These armor packs, long lost in this game, so I am excited to actually buy some new armor packs. So then the new armor sets, but I also need to talk about this loot skill system, because it's a bit of a mess. This is a post that came in from Temperhoof. I would definitely recommend reading it for yourself. We are going to take some choice words, but if you want to fully understand what's going on, read the whole thing. Remember the stuff about the level 1 defender being OP? Well, every legendary now works like that. It's a huge problem, and it basically breaks the whole game in terms of the system scaling and how powerful you can make yourself. This system can be a little bit complicated, so I'll try and be very clear on everything that we're going over here. Your damage that you do from your melee, your ultimates, your combos, and also masterwork procs, such as a weapon that does explosive damage, or an ability that does explosive damage, or sets a target on fire, all of that is measured from your average gear score, which is a hidden number that you can't see, but you can work it out fairly easily. This isn't your overall gear score that you see in the top. This is, of course, all of your gear level items added up together to give you that score. Instead, your average gear score is taking an average of them, of course. Let's use my Interceptor as an example. We have 3 legendaries on this build. We have, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 masterworks, and then of course an epic for the support slot, giving us in total, when adding up all of the gear score of each ability, component, and weapon, gives us the score in the top of 690. So then we divide that by 11 because there are 11 slots as you're seeing on screen, which gives us 62.7. You can round it up or round it down, but around 62 in the total score. The higher this number, the more damage your ultimate will do, the more damage your melees will do, so on and so forth. It just won't increase your ability damage or your weapon damage, but effectively everything else. However, taking gear off doesn't work as it should, as it nullifies that slot and basically says that it doesn't exist. With the formula that we've gone over, it should always be divided by 11 if you're max level, because regardless of those empty slots, they are still slots that you have equipped. So let's say, for example, that you only have 1 legendary weapon equipped. It should, in inverted commas, be 75 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0, you know, add in as many zeros as you want up until 11. Then you divide that by 11, giving you a gear score of 6.8, which isn't very good. However, what it does is it doesn't divide it by 11, it divides it by the stuff that's equipped. So it would just be 75 divided by 1, which equals 75, which is a higher average gear score level than the actual build that we went over before. So just equipping 1 legendary makes your melee, your ultimate, your combos a lot stronger than it would if you had a full build, which is ridiculous, you know? Of course, people have said, well, you know, good luck trying to survive on GM2 and GM3 with no form of armor, you will just get one shot by everything, which is true, but it still highlights a big flaw and a big just misstep by BioWare. The good news is that Jesse posted on his thread an hour ago saying that they've checked with the team and it will be fixed in the game for the next update, which is 1.0.4. We don't know when that is, by the way. He also came in to sort of rectify what happened and how they're going to fix it. Instead of using how many items you actually have equipped as a way to work out the average, the calculation will be done by how many slots that you have unlocked. Because of course as you're leveling, you unlock a weapon slot, you unlock the support slot, and all of your components. This means at level 30, for example, your average power score will be divided by 11 even if you have empty weapon gear component slots, which is good, seems like a really easy fix. But of course this is just embarrassing really, that this is on the front page of Reddit, everybody can see. Everybody that doesn't make Anthem videos like myself, where we enjoy the game, we play it, but we're also very critical, it's just going to allow more people to shit on the state of the game, right? Like everything else over the past couple of weeks, which is just more negative press that Anthem is going to get. And this came from the recent patch where they scaled up gear so you could do more melee and ultimate and combo damage. So it's kind of like every time that they put fixes in, more and more problems come up. So now that we've gone over everything, the loot update, more stuff's dropping, and obviously this loot scale system thing, what do I think of it all? Well, I like the changes, of course, to the drop rate. It's nice to see that they've not done this in a gimmicky way of, oh, we'll do it as an event. It is just a drop rate increase. I am very curious to know how much it was increased by. I think that's a bit of information that we should really get at this point. Of course, it's a one stage of many, and it's the right sort of change. It's a start, but that's all it is. More changes need to go in. I think everything that we went over at the end of this video does highlight the problems with the scaling system. It's embarrassing. It makes me embarrassed to, like and enjoy this game, and really sits and makes you think, man, I just want to be playing the Division instead. And I think with that game coming out in such a good way, it just buries Anthem a little bit more. BioWare have been working really hard to try and rectify all of this, but it is a monumental task. It's a start, as I mentioned. I am thankful that these changes are in for the weekend. It does give me personally a bit more drive and incentive to play the game, especially on higher difficulties. So right now I'm feeling pretty good about the changes, but I feel that in a couple of days players are either going to start complaining about specific things that have cropped up in this hotfix or just in the future. I now feel that when BioWare take a step forward, they almost always take 2 steps back, and that is really disappointing at this stage. For the first time in like a week or two, I am excited to actually play the game and actually make progress in builds and get loot. It feels really good to get the loot. 2 legendaries and 2 contracts was a really good feeling, as you can imagine. But I am excited and curious to see what else they do with loot in the future. If the updates are as quick as this one, then I think they're going to be in good hands. The loot scale problems are a big problem because it highlights how pointless a lot of the loot system is in a looter shooter game, but knowing that they're going to fix that and they have these changes coming in now, I'm feeling pretty positive right now, but there's still a long way to go. That's everything that I wanted to go over in this video. Sorry if it was a little bit longer, but instead of just going over here's the news, here's what the dev said, I wanted to give some actual insight to how the loot scale problem actually works and explaining that, whilst also highlighting my own experience from doing legendary contracts with the new loot changes. Thanks for all of the support. How many of you guys are still playing? Let me know in the comments below, and if you're playing Division 2 as well, let me know, because I'm about to sort of plunge into that myself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon. Have a good weekend. Take care.